My favorite thing about coaching cross country really is just the community. To see those athletes just get together and bond over the common punishment of running is pretty spectacular to see. The growth that they have over the course of a season, that's really the reason why I do it.
My favorite cross-country memory took place at Hope College 6 years ago, almost to the day. It was my first cross-country experience ever, and I had been training in Australia, which was the winter time, for about 4 or 5 months at the time. So I came back to 90-degree heat at Hope, and I remember going up the hill, and that's the last thing I remember. I was 3 miles in, and I lost consciousness, and I woke up 600 meters from the finish. So somehow I had run 1.5 miles unconscious, and I woke up on all fours, vomiting everywhere, hallucinating, hating myself. But the next race, I was so angry and I wanted retribution so badly that I went out and smashed this another cross-country race. And since then, I've been in love with cross-country.
So probably my favorite memory that I have isn't necessarily one day. It's the accumulation of days that you spend with your team and the effort that you put in and just the fruit that comes from that. It's really cool. Those rainy days are probably some of my favorites. You just go out there and it's tough for everybody, but you make it through.
So my favorite thing about cross country in high school and even into college was always just the camaraderie piece of it. It was a lot different than just running track and field where everyone had their specific event groups. With cross country, you always had that group of people you were running with, you were training with, and there was kind of always that family aspect behind it, which is the thing I enjoyed the most about running cross country.
So cross country is my sport. I ran in high school and college, and I've been coaching cross country for the last several years. Coached many middle schoolers, and just last week, many of them have moved on to high school. So I was attending the first high school cross country meet of my son. And here are many of the kids I coached now on several different opposing teams, and it was so cool to see. This was actually the first cross-country meet I was at in years where I wasn't either competing or coaching. It was so cool to see everybody there. They were excited to see me, and the biggest thing for me was just to see how much they have grown as runners and people over the years. It's really amazing, really moving for me, and really rewarding to see them having taken to heart some of the many pointers I gave them as a coach over the years. So it's really rewarding.
Cross country was a great avenue for me to get into just the whole running culture. It's given me a career, it's given me really good friends and stuff I can do with my siblings and my dad, my cousins. And, you know, if I go on vacation, I can go run with them and have a good time. So I'll always kind of like look back to high school cross country as really kind of what started all that for me. And I had good teammates and good captains, and just it's a good group of people that I think obviously has impacted a lot of what I do on a daily basis.
I think my favorite memory from cross country is running all of the hills. That's the one really unique thing about cross country, is that it's not just flat like a track or like most roads that you run on. So the mental toughness that you have to have when you run up hills is something very unique to the sport.
Honestly, I don't know who I'd be if it weren't for running, because I started track in like 8th grade as just kind of, oh, let me just do this, and then it's kind of, oh, I'm actually decent at this. So now I run for Madonna University, and it's my whole life. I don't know, like all my friends are on the cross country team.
I think one of my favorite things about cross country was the friendships that I built. A lot of people and a lot of my closest friends have been from cross country, and I still keep in contact with them to this day. It's just the camaraderie that we built, and it's been probably one of the greatest impacts on my life.
My cross country story is going to take us back in time to when I was in 7th grade and I decided to start running cross country. I was actually on my way home from school. I believe it was the first or second day of school, and I was sitting in the back seat of my car. I was sitting in the backseat of my mom's car, and I asked her, I said, Mom, I kind of want to run cross country this season. And she said, are you sure? I said, yeah, let's turn the car around and I want to go out for practice. Meanwhile, I'm wearing cargo shorts and Iverson basketball shoes. But I did make it through the first practice. The first couple meets also were not the most fun for me, but it was the challenge of cross country that really kept me going. And there were a couple other hiccups along the way, but eventually I worked through that first season of cross country and never looked back, running through high school as well, and then running at Grand Valley State University in college.